Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we're in my hometown of Uvalde, Texas. We flew down to visit my family and I just had to swing by the town square. There's always something nice about coming home and seeing familiar sights. One of my favorites is our old opera house, which is architecturally one of the most unique buildings in town. It's a bright and sunny day and it's hot. Right off the town square is one of my favorite places, an antique store called Horner's on the Square. This place has been here for as long as I can remember. I found so many interesting things here. Let's step inside and see what they have today. One thing I love about antique stores is that every single one of them has totally unique items. There's something thrilling about not knowing what goodies you'll come across. Everyone has their own method of browsing, but I like to take it in all at once, glancing around as I walk the space to see if anything catches my eye right off the bat. And then I'll do another round, walking slower and really studying everything in closer detail. I love looking at stuff like antique cups and saucers. My sister has quite a collection of English tea sets that I'm kind of envious of. Today they also seem to have a selection of lamps. This white hobnail oil lamp is looking really enticing right now. I'm also intrigued by the glassware they have. There are some really beautiful pieces. Now, one approach I find helpful when antiquing is to have a vague idea of the types of things you're looking for, but also being open to surprises. Since I recently finished putting together my dining room, I'm looking for small items that will work stylistically with that space. Let's head downstairs and see what other treasures they have. Lots more stuff. Also, it's 100 degrees outside and it's nice and cool down here, so we're just gonna hang out for a bit and take our time exploring. I find that antique stores are usually great places to find some really nice cast iron cookware, and a lot of times they'll have a silky smooth seasoning on the pans too. They also have a good collection of some really handsome books today. Might need to pick up a couple of these. I love finding weird and wacky things in places like these. Because this is Texas and hunting is a big thing here, there's usually a lot of taxidermy stuff like deer heads, as well as antlers, hooves, a devil skull, some comics. Wait, what? A devil skull? What in the world? Oh, okay. Well, if you're from South Texas, you know what this is supposed to be. Ugh, creepy. Well, that's fine, I guess, as long as there aren't any scary dolls around. Oh god. Well, alright, that's enough fun at the antique store, but I think it's time to get out of here. During my trip down to see my family, we also got a chance to take a very quick trip across the border to Mexico. We didn't have much time, but we still swung by the market to take a look around. Then, before I knew it, it was time to return back to Washington State. These visits home are never long enough. But we carefully packed all my finds and shipped them back home, so I'm excited to get them. Alright, so we're back home now. So let me talk you through the cool stuff I found on my antique store journey. So the first things I want to talk about, I found a pair of old dictionaries with really nice looking covers. Now books, old books I like to use a lot in displays. You know, it's a really great way to add height to things. You know, you can set things on top of them and really just kind of stagger the different heights, so it's a more dynamic display as opposed to just having everything on one level. So these are a pair of them, so I'm gonna try and find a place to use these, probably in my dining room hutch. If you recall from my dining room tour video, you know, I'm sort of going for a dark academia theme, and what better than some old books to really kind of reinforce that. So I'll be looking for a place to put those in my dining room. And then also, well, I guess while we're talking about dark academia, I found these little glass apothecary jars, and these are cute. You know, they have the little removable lids. You know, they're very simple, but to me they kind of give off like a mad scientist vibe, if you will, which I think, again, you know, if dark academia is kind of your thing, you know, these are really nice to incorporate just because they kind of further that design style. And then I also found two others in the sort of brown glass, and these are cool. They're slightly different sizes, and the lids are really neat. They have like a nice little detail here on the end, which I think is really pretty. So again, all of this stuff will probably end up going probably in my dining room hutch. I think, you know, if I can find space for it. So we'll do a little design exercise a little bit later just to find homes for all these things. Okay, so moving on, I found a pair of carved little bowls. So these are like miniature versions of dough bowls. And I have a larger one, but these I thought were really cute. I'm kind of thinking maybe like during the holidays or something, I can set these out with some nuts, like walnuts or something, and a little nutcracker just so that people can help themselves. But I don't know, I think these are very charming and they're very simple and rustic, and they just kind of further the sort of early American theme that I seem to be gravitating towards. So very pretty. Also, I found this glass dome. So very simple. I love stuff like this, you know, the glass domes or cloches or however you say it. There's just something about when you put something underneath glass, it just makes it more elevated, more special looking. And even if there's nothing in them, I think they're very beautiful. So, and of course, you know, if you've got temperamental little cuttings or small house plants, these can help with the humidity as well. So definitely gonna find a home for that guy. And then while we were in Texas, we took a very quick trip to the border. And so I couldn't help myself but stop by the Mexican market. So there I found this little pitcher. I think it's very beautiful. You know, only the top part is glazed, the bottom part is not. I just love how very simple and rustic it is. This is Mexican, but I feel like it could also read like maybe early American or something. So I'm gonna try and find a spot for this, probably also in my hutch as well. So we'll see how that goes. And then if you've seen my other videos, you'll recall that I have a huge love for Mexican dishware. And I happened to find these glasses at the Mexican market too. So the same sort of clay as some of my other ones, and the same little flower motif. I think these are so beautiful. And I'll probably end up taking these out to the tiny house just because that's where most of my Mexican plates are. But yeah, these were a really great find. So I'm very excited about these. And then moving on, I've got a set of small blue willow china plates. Now these are great. I'm a sucker for anything blue willow china. The pattern is just very beautiful. But these, you know, it's a series of, I'm not sure how many I have, I think maybe like 5 or 6. But probably what I'll end up doing with these is just putting them on little plate hangers, creating like a little grouping or display somewhere. On my kitchen wall, I've got some artwork that I want to display, and then I can put these kind of around there. So we'll see what that turns out like. And then moving on, I found a small little oil lamp. So this one's really cute. Usually they're larger, but this one's really teeny, which I think is just really adorable. It's got some etched glass here detailing on the bottom. So I'm looking forward to trying this out. I'm kind of thinking maybe this winter I'd like to have some, you know, candles and oil lamps going just to kind of help with my seasonal blues. So we'll see how that goes. So while we're on the topic of oil lamps though, I also found this one. Now, this is not from the antique store. This is actually from a church yard sale that I was just at. And it's actually kind of funny because when I came upon this, I initially thought it might be a bong, which made me a little confused as to why that would be at a church yard sale. But it's actually by a company called the Wolford Glass Blowing Company. And they actually still make these. So if you look on their website, you can still buy them. They retail for about $95, but I managed to get mine for free. So that was a big score. So I'm gonna try filling this with some oil and just see what that looks like. Okay, so moving on, we have another lovely find, is this bust of George Washington. Now, I didn't realize I had a thing for presidential busts until I found my little Benjamin Franklin bust at the antique store here in Tacoma a couple years ago. So ever since then, I've just kind of been on the lookout for any other presidential busts, and I happened to find George Washington. So this one's really nice. He's kind of larger than the other one, and he's all black, which I think is very kind of refined looking. So definitely gonna look for a place for him in my dining room hutch. And then the last thing I want to talk about is this silver champagne bucket. Now this, I really want to repurpose as a flower vase. You know, it's got the little bucket thing that's supposed to hold ice, but I'm going to use it to hold water. And I'm really envisioning this as just having like a fountain of tulips or something sprouting from the top. So I'm looking forward to testing that out, and hopefully it'll look as pretty as I'm expecting it to. Yeah, so these are all my beautiful things. So why don't we move along to trying to find homes for all these, and we'll see what that looks like. So let's try building some displays for my new treasures. Here's my recently wallpapered dining room hutch. And for this first grouping, I'm going to start with one of the dictionaries as a base. And then on top of that, we'll go Mr. Washington and the 2 brown glass apothecary bottles. Really simple. But some of the other displays will be busier, so I want to keep this one from looking too cluttered. Moving on to the next one, I'm putting everything on this wooden tray. On that will go Mr. Benjamin Franklin and a tall bubble vase. Then I'm adding one of the clear glass bottles and a small brass vase on the other side. And then to finish it off, a big air plant. Alright, the next little group here, I'm going to use the other dictionary. And next I'm going to employ my new glass dome that I'm carefully going to place over a palmistry hand that I had. And then my little lamp that I got for my New York trip, and the other glass apothecary bottle. And then to finish it off, a couple of little air plants. And then the last few items, the little clay pitcher, the tiny oil lamp, and a teacup with one more air plant in it. And that's it for the hutch. With the carved bowls, they look great next to their bigger brother, and it looks like they will be perfect for holding walnuts too when the time comes. Next, let's fill the champagne bucket insert with some water, and I'm going to put in some beautiful orange tulips in it. This looks perfect on my coffee table. I feel super fancy. Okay, the last thing is that yard sale oil lamp. I ordered some colored lamp oil for it, so I'm going to put some in there and try lighting it. I really love how this looks. So much so that I ended up ordering a smaller lamp and some red oil to complement the gold. I can definitely see myself lighting these every night during the wintertime. Well, I have to say I'm very happy with all my little treasures. I had a fun time finding them, but also experimenting with different arrangements. Next time you drive past an antique store, I'd say you should stop in and take a look. You never know what you might find. Okay everyone, that does it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. It would really help me out. Alright, take care everyone. We'll see you next time.